Good morning, everyone. Tractor Man 44 here. Well, you can tell by looking at the table, once we got started, I didn't have time to do a salutation or a greeting or anything. I just grabbed the camera and threw it up there, and we already got ham roasts on the table, the shoulders over there ready for pork steaks, and there's a rack of ribs laying there and a little bit of sausage yet. We already got everything else prepared with the first half, and then we're already bringing the second one in right now. I think my son will be coming in the door in just a second with the pig poker. Go ahead and set that one right up on the table, back out, and then we'll get about the business of going on the second half of the first pig. Well, like I said, the first half was already done, so that's my oldest daughter over there giving the tenderizer a heck of a workout with all the pork cutlets. She'll run them through one direction multiple times, turn them 90 degrees, run them through that direction, and keep flipping them back and forth to get just a tremendous amount of cuts on that meat. Just to tenderize the devil out of it, just makes it cook up so nice and tender that way. And I got to tell you, after butchering beef this year, I went ahead and bought a new knife and a new shear plate for the Hobart grinder. And boy, it's really paid off because you just about don't have to tamp hardly anything at all to get it to go through the grinder unless it's just cut too big for that small 1.5-inch hole. But other than that, it's just pretty much self-feeding and does a tremendous job with that with the new parts. I really like it.
Oh, you cut the heads off these things?
They shaved jowls.
Yeah,
They had skinned. That
out.
is the weirdest thing. The whole head was skinned and was still on there. And I had to cut the head off. I had to, cut the neck joint, cut the head off, and then saw the last rib in too, so the last vertebrae in too. But they left the jowls right on the side of the, right on there.
So that's the jowl.
That's the jowl right here.
I was telling the guy just the guy I'm working with, he's like, oh, so you guys keeping the jowls? I'm like, no, we never keep the jowls. Oh my God.
But the jowls make the nastiest bacon you ever
And he's like, that's the best bacon in
It's nasty. It is nasty.
And I'm just like, well, we
Yeah,
never
just go over there.
I said, we never keep them.
Parker always puts some head cheese.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because we always cut the entire thing off, but these guys, like I said, they just shave the thing down.
Now what they're doing here, they've already cut
So you
the
got
front
pretty much
front
that
shoulder off. The guy on the left, that's Mike, my son-in-law. He's going ahead and cut that
Which is fine.
front little portion of the rib cage out in preparation for cutting pork steaks off of that shoulder. And then Andrew, my nephew in the orange shirt, he's getting ready to take the backbone out. He's going to go ahead and saw across the back end of it there and roll that out so that we can prepare to pull the tenderloins or the pork chops out of that section of the pig. Now with the ribs all cut and pork chops laying on the bench, that exposes the ribs, to be lifted out. That's what Andrew's doing on the right-hand side. He's going to go ahead and lift out those rack of ribs, slice them down the middle, and make a couple sets of them. Now with the ribs lifted, Andrew's concentrating on the bacon. You'll see him square that up and trim a little bit of the edges off of it right there. Get ready for that to go right back into the cooler. And Mike over there, he's trimming up whatever those cuts are. I can't tell from here, but he's trimming those up and scraping the bone dust off for either packaging or for going over to the sausage table. I can't tell. Yeah, now I can tell. That's all sausage that Mike's cleaning up there, to go over to the table for finished trimming and grinding. And there's the bacon. The bacon's prepared. It's getting ready to head for the cooler. It's going to set on some paper right there, until it heads down to the guys for the seasoning. Just about every kid loves to get on the grinder. I think it's because you can see the biggest change in the amount of work or in the type of work that they're doing. Trimming fat, isn't quite so much fun as watching all the worms squirt out the end of the grinding plate. Put about an ounce of seasoning per pound of sausage whenever we're making our breakfast sausage or Italian sausage or whatever blend it is. And we typically use a Penzeys spices mix for the different types of sausages that we like. And of course, when you're mixing, you got to make sure you get a good thorough mixing, or you're going to get clumps of seasoning, in this sausage patty or that sausage patty. It's just not going to come out right. So you got to make sure that you're watching everything and watch the color of the sausage change evenly during the course of you thrusting it over and over and twisting and squeezing, just to ensure that it's got a very good mix. You'll be sadly disappointed if you don't get a good mix. Now, when we're vacuum sealing, we're using 1 quart bags, for the sausage. And the size of my hands, I typically reach in and grab a handful, which ends up being roughly 1.25 pounds. And we find that 1.25 pounds is just about perfect for the average family of 4. It just works out really, really well. You have very little left over, if any, every time you open a package. So that's about right. Some of them we make 1 pound, though. And then you're going to have to watch the numbers. We have to go to 12, remember? We have to go to 12. Now, we typically mix in batches of 10 pounds simply because it's a convenient number for me to easily get a good mix on. When you go 12 or 15 pounds or more, which is absolutely horrible, it's a very difficult thing to get a real good and even mix on the seasoning. So I've got her keeping a close eye on the scale there, and we're calling for 12 because the pan weighs 2 pounds. Need more? How's that?
My next one, I only have enough to do 10 and a half, or 9, or 8, or whatever, right over there. 8 and a half.
Yeah, here we go. Same song, different verse. By now you know that what they're doing. He's already got the shoulder piece cut off. He's got the tenderloins. He's actually taken out on the left-hand side. You just saw the bacon pass in front of us, and he's trimming up the tail end there to either cut ham steaks, ham roasts, or make a ham out of, or plain old sausage. Sometimes we put the entire hams into the sausage. There he's trimming out the tenderloin and also the ham roast, and Andrew's taking the shoulder to head over to the saw and start cutting pork steaks.
Okay, you're just gonna put a partial. This you put, and I put, you need a number like this, hashtag 10, okay? Because this is a different seasoning.
So here, waiting to be packaged, is a couple of tenderloin roasts. We got a couple of pork chops right there. And then we got some stack of pork steaks. Pretty good looking stuff. And then on the back side there is some ham roasts, all ready for the vacuum seal. And speaking of vacuum sealing, the missus and my niece, that's Andrew's wife, they go about the business of getting all that stuff ran through the sealer just as quick as can be. And we don't really think that kids can start too young learning about things like this. These little girls been showing a much greater interest the last couple of years, but from the time they were toddlers, they've been in and around us whenever we're processing beef or pork. So this one here is really wanting to take an active role as far as learning what it feels like for all that sausage to run through her fingers. So she's getting a lesson now on exactly how to get that mixed in there the way it needs to be mixed.
And that one goes in that, on the.
Over here.
Yeah, over there.
Dad, will you bring another box over for me?
Okay, box
Now what
right
you have to do,
here.
you have to
Yes,
keep it up to
please.
the bottom, and then
Well, it's on a box,
get
the
that all
second
mixed
box.
in again,
No.
see?
Go take the box.
There you go. See how the bottom didn't have any on it? You go in there, twist your fingers and squeeze, twist and squeeze.
And freeze your fingers off.
And you can see the seasoning whenever it's not mixed. So you just turn it back up again like this, see where it's mixed in.
I don't know where we're going, if we won't decide. Hand it over to me.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I guess you could tell once we get started, I ain't got a whole lot of time to do anything. I just kind of set the camera, and had to walk away. Sometimes I could hold it, but just don't have time. We were a little bit on the short-handed side, but it doesn't matter. We got everything done. We were wrapped up about 11:30, thereabouts. We were wrapped up and ready for lunch. So everything went out really, really well. Thanks for watching, and this is Trackerman 44, and we're out of here, guys.